In this video, I'll be talking about gameplay. This is part 2 of an ongoing series on why Final Fantasy XVI is worth it. Let's jump right in. So gameplay, don't you just love a game where the controls are tight in execution, that are fun to learn, but at the same time are complex? Look no further. Final Fantasy XVI is just that. And I'll be honest here, I did start out with this particular accessory, this ring that lets you just mash the square button, the attack button, and then Clive will do all the different combinations of attacks. Yeah, it was alright towards the beginning of the game, and I won't blame you for taking advantage of it yourself. But listen, if you played the demo, I think that's part of the actual loot or initial accessories that you start out the game with. Don't quote me on that, but I really didn't get any DLCs up until much later in the game, so I think that's where it came from. I mean, let's face it, once you have enough experience or a good feel of the combat system, I really, and I mean really getting comfortable with swapping your icons and start using your trigger finger for the R2 button in combination with either square or triangle to start comboing up different skills. You'll soon find yourself enjoying the combat system to a point where you will feel comfortable playing without these rings. Once you have enough skill points, I really recommend you go into the abilities submenu and at least upgrade your best abilities, the ones you feel more comfortable using. In my opinion, and this is just me, you can definitely use and take advantage of all attack skills, like the Phoenix skills. Or if you have Titan already, you can use the ability that attacks multiple enemies on your screen at the same time. It's kind of like a Quake attack. Can't remember the names of the spells, you'll have to excuse me. Now, this game isn't really about mashing buttons and then just hope for the best and then you'll win. No. The beauty of this is that you also get a dodge button, which is by default set to the R1 button. Of course, if you're playing on a PlayStation console controller. You ever played a Souls game? You ever played an Elden Ring? You ever played a Darksiders? Etc. etc.? Well, you always get this invincibility roll or dash that you can use or spam so that you can start avoiding enemy fire and surviving your battles. Well, so is in Final Fantasy XVI. You have to deal damage, of course, to win because it is an action RPG. But if you're clumsy, and if you don't watch your guard, if you don't start evading unblockable attacks, you're going to hit the dust, brother. And fast. You're going to get game over faster than your paycheck is gone. If you know what I mean. So, get used to the dodge ability or button. I think there's also a ring that lets you dodge automatically at the beginning of the game. You just need to put the controller down and then Clive will dodge automatically, but really? What's the point of that? What kind of training are you doing if you're not engaging in combat like the devs wanted you to do from the beginning? That's why I decided to unequip all the support rings and make the game easier. And by the way, did I just say make the game easier? Make the game harder. Let me correct myself there. And by the way, I'm playing on action mode. You can play it on story mode, which is lesser challenging enemies and bosses, or you can play it on action mode, which is, I guess I'd like to call normal mode. Why? Because I prefer a good challenge, and so do you. That's why you're here listening to me and checking out this video, because we're hardcore gamers. Yeah. So anyway, the gameplay mechanics, I have always been a fan of turn-based Final Fantasy. turn-based RPGs, but at the same time, I welcome the idea of action RPGs. And Final Fantasy XVI right here executes it wonderfully. To the point where I am now of the idea of liking action RPGs, such as Final Fantasy XVI. So it doesn't really lose any points for it not being a turn-based RPG like its predecessors. Now, I also want to talk about the abilities menu, how you can customize Clive with what you think are the most powerful or engaging abilities, you know, the ones that resonate the most with you. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of this game. It lets you try out different combinations. Granted, you've mastered most of them, and for that you need points. But that's the whole thing, right? Is that this system right here gets you in grinding mode or farming for points. It's what keeps you coming back to the game for more. I myself have, at the moment of recording this video, I clocked in at over 100 hours playing Final Fantasy XVI. Why? Because it's so good. And again, we're talking about gameplay here. The game rewards you if you do a perfect dodge or a perfect parry. Perfect parry is basically when you attack just at the right moment when your opponent is attacking you. There's like this matrix effect that everything all of a sudden becomes slow motion, and then you can actually attack your opponent a couple of times and dealing critical hits. That's rewarding right there when you play without any accessory support, because you feel that, hey, I really am engaging with the game. I enjoy the game. I know what I'm doing. I can properly say I know how to play, and I beat Final Fantasy XVI. So, when a game executes the gameplay flawlessly like that, even though there's a challenge, trust me, you are going to die. I died. And so will you. And disclaimer, it's not that I'm some sort of like gaming reference or gaming guru or anything, but no. But at the same time, I've been in the JRPG scene for a long time, and I know a little bit about how to win at these games. And if I say you're going to die, you're going to die. The learning curve is quite steep, but once you're up there, it becomes very enjoyable. Trust me. So my advice is, you can start out with the rings that support you for dodging and for just mashing square, and then Clive will take care of the rest. Now, what about Torgal? Even Torgal will attack without you moving a finger except the one you're using to mash. So, don't get too comfortable with the ring. Use it. Get acquainted with the battle system. If you feel ready to unequip the ring, because trust me, you're gonna get way better accessories down the line anyway, go ahead and unequip it, and then just start freestyling. Trust me, it's better that way. Mashing never helps. Ever. So back to Torgal. Again, even Torgal, commanding your faithful hound, you gotta get used to that D-pad. D-pad, you gotta be able to navigate. You gotta be able to feel comfortable when you're using the items wheel or menu on screen. And then when you push left, you swap to command menus, all while doing battle. This is all in the fire of battle. You're like, oh my god, this is an action RPG. How am I ever going to decide? Don't worry. Like I said, the learning curve is a little steep, but once you're up there, you're going to be swapping through the menus like a pro. You won't even be looking at the menu anymore because you'll know it by heart. Just be on your items menu when you need to heal yourself, your potions, when you need to apply your strength tonic, when you need to encounter a strong foe. Just make sure you place them in a position that your brain will be able to remember, so you don't have to see it ever again. That's how I do it. Little game hack right there. Honestly, I really can't find anything wrong about the gameplay. There is no input delay. There is no lag. Even if you lose a battle or a story battle, we'll call it, the game lets you continue or retry that battle with more items for healing yourself, so that the player can continue advancing the story. There's always experience points to be earned. There's always parameters to be increased, like strength, defense, attack, stagger. All that good stuff is back here in this game. You got to equip swords early on in the game. You don't have much variety of equipment at the beginning of the game, but don't worry. Over halfway through the game, it's going to get interesting because you will be able to fabricate, let's say, weapons and armor. The game is filled with side quests, usually fetching an item or killing a monster for a prize, but even that doesn't feel undercooked. The interaction between characters is just so well made. If I had to give it a 1 through 10 score for how well the gameplay design is made for this game, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm giving this game a 10 out of 10 for the gameplay. Well, that's it. See you in part 3 for when I talk about the graphics. Like, subscribe, and comment. See you later. Take care.